Judge Johann Kriegler is the chairperson of Freedom Under Law, and he joins us now via Zoom for more. Judge Kriegler, thank you very, very much indeed for joining us, and welcome to the program.
Thank you, Peter. Good evening to you, and good evening to the viewers.
All right, make the connection for us, because you're seeming a little bit more hopeful now that the President has suspended the Public Protector. How does that influence or perhaps encourage action by the JSC regarding Judge Hlophe?
Peter, the two cases are parallel. The Constitution protects the incumbents of certain officers against easy dismissal. The Public Protector is one, judges are another example. In order to ensure their independence, you cannot fire them easily. You have to go through a process which establishes that they are unfit for office, that they're incompetent, that they have been guilty of gross misconduct, for instance, in the case of judges. That mechanism is there to protect these people. At the same time, that mechanism, if tweaked and manipulated and used cleverly, can keep those people in office even though they have been guilty of grave misconduct. Therefore, the Constitution makes provision for somebody against whom disciplinary proceedings is pending in those two positions can be suspended in order to safeguard society against further misbehavior by this person who has already been behaving so badly that her or his dismissal is pending before Parliament. That step has taken several years in the case of the Public Protector, but has now finally been triggered, and the sensible safeguard of putting her out of office in the meantime while the slow process of her dismissal debate continues. In the case of Judge Hlophe, it is 14 years since the complaint against him was laid by the judges of the Constitutional Court. For a multitude of good reasons and some very bad reasons, that case against him only came to fruition last year when a Judicial Conduct Tribunal actually found him guilty of gross misconduct, a finding which demands that the Judicial Service Commission, if it agrees with the finding, send him to Parliament for them to decide whether he should be dismissed. The Judicial Service Commission decided months ago that the Judicial Conduct Tribunal was correct, and Judge Hlophe is at the moment a judge in respect of whom the Judicial Service Commission has found he is guilty of gross misconduct. Not only gross misconduct, but gross misconduct in respect of the administration of justice. He tried to lobby two judges in favour of Mr. Zuma. For that man to remain at the head of one of the major courts in the country is grossly undesirable. The power to suspend him is there. All that is necessary is for the Judicial Service Commission to ask the President to exercise that power. It should have done so. It can now be reminded once again forcibly by the example of the Public Protector that precautionary measure, that safety provision should be implemented in the case of the head of the court in the Western Cape.
Why do you think the Judicial Services Commission has not forced its point quickly with the President?
Peter, I'm a lawyer, I'm not a speculator.
Yeah.
I can't tell you. I can guess, and my guesses aren't any better than yours.
Yeah.
That there was politics in it, certainly. That there may have been protection of a friend, of a colleague, possibly. The fact is, it is 14 years since he committed this grave misstep, and he is still the man who decides in the Western Cape which judge will hear which politically sensitive case. He's the man in the Western Cape who says, I would like so-and-so to come as an acting judge, and who can say to the Judicial Service Commission, I want so-and-so to be appointed as a permanent judge. It is wrong. He should not still have that power.
All right, a suspension is an interim measure. What is the ultimate goal?
The ultimate result is that Judge Hlophe's case should go before Parliament, and Parliament must decide by a majority vote whether a man who has behaved this badly is fit to remain in office. In the meantime, and that can take years, judging by how it has gone up to now, with Stalingrad tactics of the first degree, it could be several years still before Parliament is given the opportunity to decide Judge Hlophe's fate. In the meantime, he should be peeling peaches on the farm or eating grapes on his farm.
In the interim, is there a danger that some rulings that he may have made over the years may become unsafe if he eventually is deemed unfit for office?
No risk whatsoever, Peter. The law is perfectly clear on that. His findings will stand. The only effect of a suspension will be that somebody else takes over at the helm, and if he is dismissed, that he no longer is a judge and he is disgracefully dismissed.
I'm pretty sure that there have been other judges over time that have erred. Has action been taken quicker in the past? Is it this one that seems to be an anomaly?
It is an anomaly. In the case of Judge Jansen, for instance, it was a matter of months before such firm action was taken against her that she saw the reasonable thing to do was to resign. Of course, Judge Hlophe should have resigned years ago if he were an honourable man. We urged him to do so 10 years ago. He would not listen. He preferred to take a Stalingrad tactic and stay. I know personally of another case which is not public knowledge, where a judge, on my advice, resigned when a charge was levelled against him, which was of sufficient seriousness, if proved, would lead to impeachment. A judge should indeed, if faced with such a charge, and indeed if he or she knows in her heart of hearts that it is a well-founded charge, should do the honourable thing and take their hat and go.
All right, so bottom line, the longer Judge Hlophe remains in office, you're suggesting the integrity of judiciary is brought into question?
Peter, Judge Hlophe is the face of justice in the Western Cape. He is the titular and the actual head of the judicial administration in the whole of the Western Cape. He represents justice in the Western Cape. The representative of justice has a dirty face. That is not what the public deserves. It should not happen.
Judge Kriegler, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you very, very much indeed for giving us some insights on this case, and I hope the President's listening and takes action. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Peter. I've enjoyed being able to speak to the people.
Have a good evening. All right, that's Judge Johann Kriegler, who's the chairperson of Freedom Under Law, who was speaking to us, saying that the suspension of Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane should embolden the president to get Judge Hlophe to face the same fate in terms of a suspension.